Ooh, ooh. Said he's going back to 5.
Greetings, everybody. We're going to wait until noon to start our official Facebook Live session. Thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to telling you all about getting passport.
Yes, we are.
In the meantime,
between time, have a seat, get ready for some good knowledge transfer. We'll be back to you shortly. Leaving on a midnight train. Going back to 5. Are we live? Mm-hmm. We're live. I thought we shouldn't be saying.
All right, we got a minute to go. Need some water, Phil?
You know what? I am. This is going to be amazing.
I'm really excited.
I'm super excited as well. Let's look at our chat room. Do we have anyone posting anything yet? I guess we haven't started, so we'll wait. We'll give them time to message us and let us know.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Now. Oh, perfect.
Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Greetings and welcome to Travel Talk. We are your hosts. My name is Julie.
And I'm Philip.
So welcome. We are really excited to have you today, and we're going to introduce you to the world of expedited passports and passports in general. So if you have any questions along the way, please don't hesitate. Just leave us a comment below, and we'll be answering them as we go. So we are going to be here as your guides, kind of answering all of your questions, avoiding all of the common pitfalls right alongside you in this process to get a really, really important document as part of being a U.S. citizen. So, in getting an expedited passport, a lot of the time people think there's no way this can happen. I only have X amount of time. There's no way I'm going to get the government to be able to process this as quickly as I need them to. But the answer is it can be done. And we are here to help show you how that can be done. So congratulations on starting your journey.
Welcome.
A passport truly is your key to the world around you. So educating yourself in what's needed to get one and educating yourself in what that process looks like is really your first step. So we kind of want to start just talking about kind of the main stuff that people really need to consider in getting their first passport. So off the bat, we as adults are not always the best at keeping track of our vital documents. But in the process of getting a U.S. passport, you will need your original proof of U.S. citizenship. So that can look different for a lot of us. We all became citizens in different ways. So one big way to prove that U.S. citizenship is if you were someone who was born in the United States, your original birth certificate. That can be original or certified copy, but must be long form.
Correct. It has to be long form, which means it has to have the full information, your parents' information, where you were born, city and state information. It can't be the short form, which people typically provide us. And unfortunately, the State Department doesn't accept that particular form of the birth certificate.
Correct. So for others of us who were not born in the United States and became citizens through a process of naturalization, your original naturalization certificate is required.
Correct.
Now, both of the documents we're mentioning are very important documents that people who are able to keep track of them hold very near and dear. They're super important, and we understand the anxiety that is associated with giving those up. But rest assured that any vital or original documentation you provide with your application will be returned by the State Department. So that's not just affecting new passport applicants. That's also if you're trying to do a name change, if you're trying to get a child a passport, showing proof of custody, anything like that, any original documentation, rest assured that will be returned with your passport book.
And just real quick, the process can seem at first very intimidating, very daunting, but that's why we're here. We're here to guide you through the process, answer whatever questions you have concerning not only the requirements, but also the needs of the passport and what the actual benefit of having this passport for both international travel as well as moving forward, domestic travel. And Julie's going to hit on that here momentarily.
So, as Phil just mentioned, it's not just about international travel, although that is often the reason why people are calling us is, they've got these international trips coming up. you're going to need a passport because
Right.
you need a passport anytime you leave the country.
Correct.
Whether you're going to our neighbors in Canada or Mexico, or you're taking 3 connecting flights to Bora Bora, no matter how you're getting there, you're going to need a passport. So
Exactly.
one thing that we did want to talk about is not just this idea of international travel and needing a passport to get there, but also there is a new law, the Real ID Act, which came into effect relatively recently, which will require U.S. citizens from certain states to have something other than a driver's license or state ID to get on a domestic flight. Now, a domestic flight, Phil, can you shed a little light on that?
A domestic flight is any flight originating in the United States and ending in the United States. So, for example, if you're traveling from New York to Florida, DC to San Francisco, that's considered a domestic flight.
So what this means is that if you are in a state that is affected by the Real ID Act, you will need a passport book or a passport card. So what we're going to do for you now is we're going to go ahead and post the link for information on the Department of Homeland Security website to show you whether or not you will be affected by this. A lot of the customers that come to us don't know they're going to be affected by it and are caught off guard. So we want to make sure that in these sessions that we're going to be holding, that we're preparing you guys. So that's something that's super important. Now, this brings us to another point, which is a passport card.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what a passport card is, Phil?
Sure. So a passport card is issued by the Department of State. Again, the passport card is used only for land travel between the U.S. and Canada and the U.S. and Mexico. And it's also used sometimes when you're traveling on a cruise ship for some of those local islands that we all love to visit. So the passport card is typically $90 if you get that card by itself through the U.S. Department of State. And it's something that we can definitely assist with. Like Julie said, the passport card can also be used from a real ID perspective for state government issued IDs for any type of domestic flights or departures. But really, as far as the value of the passport card, that's where it ends. The passport book will give you more flexibility around not only domestic travel, but international travel. And we'll go into that in more detail here momentarily.
That's correct. So, people come to us for all sorts of different application types. So I know that we're talking about a passport book, which is super important and kind of your key to the rest of the world. However you want to get there, land, air, sea.
Your key to travel freedom.
There you go. But a passport card is also a really, really good thing to have, not only price-wise, because a lot of us, to be honest, are not planning on traveling internationally. A lot of us don't want to, a lot of us don't have the opportunity to do that. So a passport card is just a really nice piece of federal ID to have that will get you wherever you want to go within the United States, to any of the amazing places to visit right here.
Yes.
So for people who are renewing, I want to talk a little bit about that. So in order for a passport to be renewable, it needs to have been issued to an applicant when they are over the age of 16, which means that it is a 10-year passport. Some of us will look at our passports and realize that they are not valid for 10 years. Did they make a mistake? Did they issue this wrong? No. Generally, what that means is that it was issued to you under the age of 16 and is not renewable. So first thing you want to do when you're looking to renew is first make sure that you're eligible for renewal. Now, sometimes it's difficult for us to tell whether we're eligible for renewal. It's not something that we learn in high school. We don't dissect passport books and have to translate them. So this is another nice opportunity to have an expert in the field be able to consult with you on what it is that's needed. If you have questions about your in particular passport situation or passport that you have in your possession, please chat us. Please comment, message us, call us. Our general number, just so that you're aware, during this entire session, if you would prefer to speak with somebody, our general number is 877-503-9838, and you can go ahead and get right on the phone with a passport specialist who's an expert in the field. So once you do establish that a passport is renewable, which means that it was valid for 10 years and has been expired less than 5 years, and you have it in your possession, meaning you can't call me and say, hey, my passport is somewhere, I've moved 5 times, but I'm sure it's been expired. Unfortunately, this is something that you have to have in your possession in order to renew it. So these, again, are all things that we can go over with you in regards to that. Passport renewal. If you've had a passport book and you're looking to get a passport card, let's say maybe you're done traveling internationally, or you don't particularly like flying, and in your future, your international travel will be by land. You can always renew your passport book to get a passport card. A nice thing about being a renewal applicant is the State Department, you're in their system, they're familiar with you, you've been successfully issued a passport product, which congratulations. And that means that you would be eligible to go through this slightly easier process.
And one thing I want to add, so the passport renewal process, the way it's set up with the State Department and the third-party agencies like RushMyPassport is that a lot of things can be done via mail without you having to go in person to apply for the renewal. Now, the contrast to that is if you're a first-time passport subscriber, this is your first time getting a passport, oh my gosh, I have a business trip, I need a passport, or you know what, my fiance just got me an amazing trip overseas to Spain, and I need a passport to travel. What do I do? Again, the process can be very intimidating. It can be daunting. However, we're here to walk you through it. Now, one of the differences between the passport renewal process that Julie just went over and the new adult process is that when it's your first time securing a new adult passport, you must appear before a passport acceptance agency to verify your identity. Again, this is a government document, and we have to make sure that you are the person that's applying for the passport. So that process, and again, step back, passport acceptance agency, again, an intimidating term, but it's really not. It's a county clerk's office.
Right. We assure you, a lot of the time people will feel as though that's the most daunting part of it, right?
Yes.
They say, I don't have time to go to a regional agency. Exactly. The closest regional agency to me for the State Department is 3 hours away. Right. Rest assured, you're not going to have to take a mini trip prior to your big trip. Right. There are acceptance agencies all over the country. We are also here to assist in finding one that not only works for you geographically, but also that has hours that makes it so you're able to go. We're all busy people. We all have stuff going on. So that's something that we can also assist with as well.
And if you have questions about where your local passport acceptance facility is located, again, like Julie mentioned, you can always give us a call at 877-503-9338, or you can visit our site at RushMyPassport.com and speak to a specialist via chat or place the order, and you'll get a passport acceptance agency near you.
So one thing also is, what do these documents look like? A lot of the time we haven't applied before, or even if we have, we really don't remember. Sure. So a nice tool that we provide our customers with on RushMyPassport.com is kind of a breakdown of not only a list of the documents, but also really just what the documents look like. So we're going to go ahead and put our website here in the comments for you. Please feel free to go ahead and take a look. There are lots of helpful resources there that you can go through. The instructional checklists that we offer to our customers are available to everyone as well. Now, it's super important, I want to talk a little bit about the expedited angle of what we do, because although getting passports, period, can be intimidating, getting passports, period, can be daunting and confusing. But a lot of the time what we deal with at Rush My Passport are people that really need their passports now. And as we said earlier in our introduction, it often feels like it can't be done. And we understand that. We are well versed in all of the anxiety you are feeling when you find yourself in a position to need an expedited passport. So there are steps that need to be taken in order to ensure that everything goes as smoothly as possible. One nice thing about using a service like Rush My Passport is that there is a review process. Right. As we said, there's no class in high school to teach you how to apply for a passport, how to get this kind of ticket to the rest of the world.
What looks right.
So one thing that we make sure we do with all of our customers is that once the documents are gathered from the checklist, we make sure that a passport specialist who has been educated in the field in and out goes through those documents with you. They make sure that everything looks good. They make sure that everything was done properly, all T's crossed, all I's dotted, because this is truly an application process. It is an application that goes under review with the U.S. Department of State, the federal agency that produces passports. And we're asking the government to speed up a process that they like to take their time doing. Right. So we like to make sure that we are both proactive and thorough in our reviews with our customers and making sure that everybody feels educated and confident in going into this process.
And I would also like to add, so one of the benefits of using an expedited service like RushMyPassport.com is that typically the normal process to receive a passport is anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks. Now, if you're looking to travel, immediately, obviously that time frame is not going to work for you. That's why it's really beneficial for you to contact a third-party agency to help expedite the process and also ensure that your process goes through very smooth, very effective, and you get your passport.
And you're talking to educated people, which also brings me to my next point, which is the 6-month validity rule.
The famous 6-month rule.
Now, some people are going to be familiar with this, some people aren't. Basically, what this rule is for a U.S. passport holder, you are not necessarily always going to be permitted to travel within the last 6 months of validity on your passport. So safe bet is to always have more than 6 months on your passport. This not only affects people, just U.S. passport holders who want to travel, but also if you're looking to get a visa, which a lot of countries do require, especially if you're traveling for work and things like that, this rule is particularly important to take heed of. So that's just another example of something that we are really well educated in, and can make sure that you are prepared for.
And just an item to note for the 6-month validity rule, it's critical to have that validity on your passport because both countries, the countries that you're leaving, the United States, as well as the country you're looking to visit, want to make sure you have enough validity on your passport. And when we say validity, we mean the length of time issued for your passport. You have enough validity to not only go to the country, but make it back and ensure that you have that much time on your passport. What you don't want to do is get stuck overseas with an expired passport.
Although we would all like to think that being stuck on the beach indefinitely would be a dream, we all want to come home. So you want to make sure, and that's really where the rule stems, right? Is that the U.S. Department of State wants to make sure that every U.S. citizen that's going abroad will safely be able to come home. So although it can often feel like an inconvenience, all of these rules that are in place are protections. When you are approaching getting a passport for a child, for instance, as Phil was saying with the new adult passport application, you need to be seen in person. For a child, it's that much more important. For an expedited passport for a child, it's that much more important. You know, rushing out of the country for whatever the reasons are, obviously the State Department wants to make sure that everything is perfect.
Correct.
And they want to make sure that every piece of protocol is followed. So you want to make sure that you are aware of these kind of common pitfalls, which is part of why you would get yourself together with a passport specialist like me or Philip or any of us here at Rush My Passport, who really are thrilled to help you get to where you need to go faster. Right. So yeah, we want to kind of open this up to anybody who wants to ask questions to us. We see that we've got a fan here for Philip.
Hey. Hi, Janet.
So please don't hesitate to ask questions. Also, once this session ends, we don't go anywhere. We're here, so any questions that you might have, once this session is over, please don't hesitate to message us, call us. We also have a chat feature on our website at RushMyPassport.com as well. Was there anything that you wanted to add, Phil?
So, you know, it's funny because, and again, we're waiting on you guys to, we know you all don't fight to add a comment, but as we wait for the comments to roll in, I just want to talk a little bit about the importance of ensuring that your documentation is correct. And again, one of the benefits of using an expedited service. So we run into, on many occasions, travelers who call us and say, oh, I sent my documents to the Department of State. They tried to contact me. They weren't able to get me. There was a suspension. All these things that can occur within that passport process that can be really scary. If you're dealing with a government agency and you're getting these letters saying, oh, you're suspended based on X, Y, and Z reason, it can be very, like we say, intimidating. So that's why it's super important that you're dealing with specialists in this area who can not only recognize when the passport documents are correct, but we can also advise you if you do provide something that's incorrect and ensure that you get that corrected. So the packet that's submitted for your passport request is free of any errors and it's good to go, and we ensure that your passport is issued properly.
Well, and the nice thing about kind of having a friend, which is what we really are for people, we're support and going through this process. The nice thing about that is you're never alone. We're in it until you get your passport. Right. So if there are any issues, and those can be things as small as, you know, you put your daughter's social security number instead of your son's on your son's application, or the photo that you sent, you blinked. You know, any number of small things, especially when you're getting an expedited passport, because you're worried about so many other things. You want to make sure you're packed. You want to make sure everything is ready to go. You want to make sure your mail is forwarded.
Right,
you want to make sure that you're checked in for your flight. You want to make sure that all of these moving parts are perfect and are together and aligned so that you can get to where you need to be. So let us worry about the details and let us worry about this process. And that's kind of how we treat this. We have a vested interest in your getting on your trip. My favorite thing is when we send customers on trips of a lifetime and I get pictures, I get emails. It's very, very exciting. Now, sometimes this is something as fun as a bachelorette party, and sometimes it's something as serious as being at the side of an ill loved one. No matter what the reason is, we know that we all find ourselves in situations where we forget we need a passport,
right,
where we haven't traveled and we haven't looked at our passport's expiration date. And if it didn't happen to more people, we wouldn't be here.
right.
So it's super important that you are aware that services like this exist. You're very rarely going to find yourself in a situation that we can't help you out of.
That is true.
We are logistics experts, aside from being experts in the field of getting a passport. And we're problem solvers.
That's right.
So no situation is too simple or too complicated. We can always shed light and always make it a little bit easier to deal with.
And we like challenges, so bring us your challenges.
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready.
So while we're waiting on a few more comments to come in, do you want to, well, you know what, before I go in, we have a question from one of our readers. Can I renew early if I run out of pages? That's actually a really good point and something that we can talk on. So in the past, before January 2015, the State Department used to offer a service called additional pages. This happens when, let's say, for example, you're traveling on your passport and you run out of quote unquote visa pages. Now, these are pages within the passport where visa stickers are affixed, also where they stamp entry and exit stamps when you enter the country in immigrations and when you exit. So for a while, for actually up until January 2015, the State Department allowed you, when your pages filled up, to secure extra pages in that same book. Unfortunately, after January 2015, we no longer offer that service. So if you run out of pages, or like Julie mentioned before, if your passport we're brushing up against that 6-month validity rule, then you will have to renew the passport to get more pages. Now, one of the critical things about that is that with the U.S. passport book, they offer 2 book services. So you have a 26-page book and a 52-page book for those travelers who travel internationally frequently. Most of us don't really need the 52-page book.
Although we'd like to believe that
we
we
like to
will.
believe that we're going to be traveling. But the 52-page book, again, is for those travelers who frequently travel internationally. And the 26-page book are for those travelers who don't frequently travel internationally, but you want to have that passport available.
And something I do want to bring up as well is for those passport holders who need visas or who have visas and then need to renew their passport book and are concerned, how does this affect my valid visa? I have a 10-year visa in my passport book that I'm going to need. I travel to this destination frequently for work. I have family there, whatever the case is. We work, we have a sister company, RushMyPassport.com, as well as G3 visas as well. We've got a lot of resources for people who need visas. So if you have questions about what that looks like for you, how that's going to impact you, the current visas you have, the visas you'll need, please reach out to us and we'll go ahead and provide you with those links as well in our comments section.
And while Julie is providing those links, so an interesting nugget is that a lot of times countries or rather the industry is gearing towards countries that have valid visas on expired passports. Most of those countries will allow you to travel with the expired visa passport and the valid visa along with your new passport. So that's actually an industry kind of secret that we're letting you guys know. But it's always best to contact us to inquire which countries allow that, because only, like I said before, not all countries require or allow that, but some countries do, most of the major countries. So the best thing to do is give Rush My Passport or Rush My Travel Visa a call, and we can confirm if that country will allow that visa.
So this also brings up a good point about renewing, because there are all different kinds of reasons to renew a passport. It's not just necessarily I've run out of pages or I've run out of validity. Sometimes the passport, and although this doesn't happen all the time, sometimes people's appearances drastically change.
Yes.
Sometimes people have called me and told me that they are held in TSA because they do not look like their passport anymore. So that is a situation where, as long as you've got that 10-year passport book, give us a call and we can talk to you about what that renewal process looks like. Another reason that you would need another passport would be as if your passport is damaged. Now, a damaged passport is something that's particularly important to give us a call and talk to us about, because there are different levels of damage, right? So there's the corners of my pages got, wet with some coffee and have dried.
And there's my passport was in my pants and I just washed clothes.
Or my dog ate my passport. These
or
really.
My 2-year-old ate my passport.
or drew inside my passport. All of these things occur and are all reasons to need another passport. Now, whether you can renew a passport or need to apply for a new passport, depending on the extent of damage, is really what the question is. And that's really what you want to be consulting someone on. Because this is kind of a gray area where there is a certain amount of discretion left to the person reviewing your application, it's super important that you're consulting someone who has experience with these types of applications. Because the issue becomes, once you submit your application to the State Department, if they wanted you to utilize another application type, it will kick back the application. Now, although we will be with you through that process, we always like to be as proactive as possible. We want to make sure that everything is perfect ahead of time, so we have no work to do on the back end. You can sit back, relax next to your pack bags, and wait for your passport to arrive at your door. So super important that you let us know the specifics of your situation when you call us, when you chat us, when you message us. The more information you're able to give us, the better advice we're able to give.
The better we can assist you, correct.
So yeah, I think we really wanted to make sure that you guys understood how approachable the world of passports is. This is not some big complicated thing that is impossible to do. If you've got an emergency, if you've got a situation and you feel like you're alone in trying to navigate a government process, we are here. We are here for you to call, for you to message, however you need us to assist.
Correct.
We'll be sure to be there for you.
All right.
All right, well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you so much for wanting to educate yourself about opening the door to the rest of the world. And please, again, feel free to give us a call anytime at 877-503-9838 to speak with a passport specialist, or feel free to message us here at RushMyPassport.com's Facebook page. Please be sure to like us, follow us, check us out on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and we're really looking forward to getting you to where you need to be.
Right. Also, don't forget to visit our website, RushMyPassport.com. It has all the information and requirements you'll need to secure a new passport, and all the information that Julie and I just mentioned is also listed on the RushMyPassport.com page.
And education is really the key here to making you feel comfortable and empowered in getting your U.S. passport. Everybody have a great day and safe and happy travels.
Bye, guys. Thank you for attending.